Take first question, Dwayne in the front.
Thank you, Coach. You forecasted that Milwaukee would bring the effort tonight, but you said your guys were ready for that. How'd you like how you guys responded to Milwaukee's charges throughout the night?
Yeah, I mean, the first quarter was a storm of aggression from them, attacking the paint, offensive rebounding, and we talked about it all morning. We studied Game 2 versus Atlanta, and that was their way to attack Atlanta in that Game 2 after a loss, was to just get to the paint. And so we knew that was coming, and they're a good team. It's not like, this is the finals and they're giving a finals effort. But I like the fact that our guys just stayed the course and showed poise, and we were down 3. And then in the second quarter, which I felt like won the game for us, our defense was at a high level. We held those guys to 16 points. And so that ended up being the difference. Obviously you have to do more in the second half, but the second quarter defense was tremendous.
Quick follow. There was a possession. You guys came out of the timeout up 6, and Mikal chased down a loose ball.
Yeah.
Then Ayton got an offensive rebound,
Yeah.
kicked the ball for 3. How huge was that possession right
We
there?
had a few signature offensive rebounds. That play by Mikal, DA had one to kick out for a 3. Those are the kinds of relentless plays that we've been talking about all year. We have a we score mentality. And when DA and Mikal give it up like that and other guys score, it's like they scored. That's how we view it. But in that moment when they cut it, to 6, 7, we kept answering with a big 3. And you have to make plays like that to win games in the finals.
Dave up front.
Monty, you mentioned those threes that you had to answer it. There were 3 of them from Devin himself in the fourth, 6 to make it to 9. They cut it down to 7. He hits back-to-back to hit it up to 13. And then as a team, you go 20 for 40 from deep. What about Devin makes him built for those moments? And then can you speak to, as a team, how well you shot it?
I mean, the guys work on it. We have a let it fly mentality. Our guys shoot a ton of shots every day, as everybody does in the NBA. But those are the moments that he lives for. He doesn't run from it. I've seen it from him for 2 years. He just steps up and makes big plays. In that moment, I think one of them, he set a great screen. They had the help. He popped out. He knocked it down. And, the thing about Devin, he shoots the same way, first quarter, fourth quarter, it doesn't matter. His shot looks the same. That's a guy that's put a ton of work and in his shot. But the mentality, he's calm in those moments. And so we're grateful for those contributions in those moments.
Gina?
Monty Mikal had another great game tonight. Just even going back to the Clippers series when maybe he struggled offensively, just what were those conversations like between you and him, just either during that series or maybe between the 2 series that maybe helped get him ready to have the 2 games that he's had these
There wasn't any. I just think this time of the year, the last thing I want to do is crowd anybody's mind. I tell our guys to go hoop. I don't want them thinking about their shots or whatever may be deemed as a struggle. When you put the work in the way these guys have, and we've trusted them all season long, when a guy struggles in the playoffs, I don't want to get in his head. If anything, I want him to continue to shoot. And we have a saying, reps remove doubt. If you get your work in, you can trust your work. And I really don't talk to the guys much if they do have a tough game. I think that's the last thing they want to hear from me.
On the floor tonight, what did you maybe see working for him? Because he obviously had the 3-ball work and he had that little pull up in the lane that he's worked on so much. He got to the basket and the finish. Just what was maybe working for him tonight?
Well, I think tonight anyway, he recognized once he started making shots and they ran him off the line, he was getting to his spot. Sometimes he would get close to the basket, but he would get to a spot where he can make that 7-8 foot jump shot. I mean, he's been doing that all year. It's just that everybody's seeing it now. But I thought he had balance tonight. He wasn't just taking shots, contested shots, even though he could have because he's long. When they ran him off the line, he was getting to the basket. And I think the other side of it is when DA is low, you can't leave him. And so that allows for Mikal to get to his spot, and the big can't help. And so I think, DA generates a lot of offense for us because he offensive rebounds so well that the help defense at times can't come help on our guys when they drive and shoot those mid-range shots. Anthony, third row.
Yeah, I was just looking. Your first Hornets team, which was only a decade ago, only shot 15 threes a game. You took 40 tonight, made 20. Have you gotten used to where the league's gone from three?
I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm no different than any other coach. You have to adapt to the trends and what allows your team to be successful. I think the holdover for me is the ability or the willingness to still shoot the mid-range shot. I think that's something that I'll always be vested in, but our guys work on it. And I tell them all the time, if you work on it in practice, do it in the game. And so, I mean, just spending time with San Antonio when I went back and being with Brett Brown in Philly, I learned a lot about different ways to score and how you have to adapt as a coach.
You guys only made 1-2 in the first quarter, but you were in the game because you got hot from three. How much can just a hot shooting night in this era kind of, save you through a part of the game where maybe you're struggling elsewhere?
It's huge. I mean, the three ball is case in point, when we were up 6 and they were cutting it, we kept hitting 3 after 3. The ability to knock that shot down and have multiple guys who can do it certainly helps your team. So that's who we've been all year, and I don't want our guys to change now.
Mark, on your right.
Hey, Monty, I know Devin's obviously a young guy, but what does he do to keep his motor always run at a high level throughout the game?
I just think Devin wants to prove to everybody he's one of the best players in the league, but not just from a stats, numbers perspective. I think he wants to prove it by winning, and he's competitive. It's we have a really competitive team. And Chris and Jay and DA, Book, all those guys, they love winning. I think that's what he wants to separate himself from everyone else, is to not only put up stats, but to show that he can lead a team to win. And he's getting a chance to do it on a big stage.
Can you recall any moment where he's ever felt tired?
No. There are times where I get the look when I even ask him about it. It's like insulting to him when I ask him about his stamina. I'm sure it does happen, but, the really good players, great players in this league don't allow being tired to keep them from doing what they have to do. Every guy that I've been around, they have something in them to push past exhaustion. And I think that's why those guys work the way they do in the summertime, so that they can be ready for those moments when they are tired. It doesn't mess with their game.
In the back.
Monty, I think there's been a few times in the playoffs where something you've said in the huddle maybe gets clipped and ends up getting shown on the broadcast, where you're talking to a player or talking to the team, and people seem to fixate on that. How do you look at that time, when you have those timeouts and that time to speak to a specific guy or the team? What is, you think, the best approach for you in those moments when you only have a limited amount of time?
You're giving me a lot of credit. I try to be authentic. If there sometimes in a huddle, I don't say anything. The guys will run the huddle. But I try to be an encourager in huddles, especially when I see a guy down or the team is not at the level where they should be mentally. I don't want to make up stuff. I know what it's like to be in those huddles, and you want to know the truth. But you also need sometimes a pep talk, sometimes encouragement. I just try to be authentic and speak from the heart. Sometimes it requires me to shut up and not say anything. And I think our players understand where I'm coming from. When I come to the huddle, I want to have something substantial to say, or I'm just going to not say anything. And so that's just the way I approach it.
You guys are, sorry, you guys are halfway there. What did you tell them in the brief moments that you had with them before you walked in here?
We talked about it, it being a 0-0 series. That's our mentality. That's what we talked about this morning. We have to approach every game with a level of desperation, and we can't look at the series numbers. But human nature forces you to do that. But our mentality is to play every game as if we're coming off of a loss. And I think that served us well throughout the playoffs. And we know that when we don't play with the force that is necessary to win, we're not as good as we can be.
I think there was one possession in the second quarter where I counted at least 9 passes before DA finished it off. What did you see in that possession?
That's just who we are. One of our pillars is sharing the ball. You know, my time in San Antonio and being under Pop for all those years, I learned that when the ball moves like that, one, everybody gets to take ownership, and two, it can have an effect on the defense when you move the ball. Now, it's not a commonplace in the NBA to have that many passes, but that was a huge momentum play for us. But that's who we've been for 2 years.
We'll start with Dwayne up front.
Thank you, Jay. My apologies for the other day.
Got me looking for you.
That won't happen again. Just wanted to ask, seeing Devin get in that mode, and you've seen it all year, but how special was it tonight to see him go to another gear in that second half?
I mean, I expect that out of him. He's our go-to player. You know, we know he can make plays for himself and for others. So we just try to get him in some good situations, good spots, and let him read the game and react and play basketball. He did a great job of just shot making tonight, for sure.
Quick follow. You guys are 2 wins away from winning an NBA title. When you hear that, what's registering right now?
0-0. Fight. These guys are a tough team. Obviously, we're going into a tough environment. But your mindset has to be just 0-0 next game. Can't look too far ahead. Don't look back. Just next game mentality, and that's what we're preaching.
Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.
Any other questions in here for Jay? Palmer, anyone on Zoom?
Yeah, next up, we're going to go with Brendan Clean with Locked On Suns.
Hey, Jay. Middleton had a pretty solid game in game 1, especially getting to that pull-up 3 and just kind of finding mismatches. Not so strong tonight. Was there anything different you guys were doing on him, or was it just Giannis having the ball a little bit more and their offense looked different? Just what did you see from how things were different for them?
Well, I just think we just never let him get comfortable. We talked about it. We just wanted to give a lot of different looks to him, not let him see the same coverages over and over. Obviously, these guys do a good job, but when you play the same way, same style of defensively, they pick you apart. So we just try to give him a lot of different looks and make it as tough as possible on him. Obviously, he's a hell of a player. He's one of their go-to players. So we just want to make it as difficult as possible. I think Mikal Bridges did a great job on him all night.
What would you say the key is when Giannis does score like he did to still being able to win a game like that? You'd look at it and think, well, if he scores that way, most of the time Milwaukee's going to win. Obviously, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I'm not really into coaching those guys. I'm trying to beat them. So I don't really know the correct answer to that. We're just trying to beat them.
Next up is going to be Jovan Buha with The Athletic.
Hey, Jay. Chris and Devin have combined for the most points by a starting backcourt in NBA Finals history through the first couple games. Obviously, you expect big things from them offensively, but can you just speak to the level of dominance they've had through these first 2 games? I
mean, it sounds crazy, but I really expect them guys to play well every night. They put a lot of work into it. They do a good job of running our team, running our offense, making it run smoothly. Obviously, everything runs through those guys. So we put the ball in their hands and put them in situations and let them play and react. Coach did a great job of filling the game and putting those guys in position, and they do a good job of just creating for themselves and for others. So I expect that. And it may be a surprise to others, but I expect those guys to lead the way, especially offensively for our team. And that's what we've been doing all year, and it's no different now that we're in the finals.
Next up is Mark Schwartz with ESPN.
Hey, Jay, I heard Devin say a week or two ago that he's been preparing for moments like this all of his life. He clearly doesn't run from them, does he?
No, I wouldn't be here if he did. I
What
wouldn't
is
want to
it?
play with a guy who runs from the moment. I think he does a great job of seizing opportunity. I knew playing against him what type of competitor he was previously before joining him as a teammate. So, no, to answer that question, he's not going to run from any fight, battle, situation that the basketball court presents. So he's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a competitor. And I'm glad to be a part of playing alongside him at this time of the year.
Why do you
Go
think?
Gina, and then one final question on Zoom.
Hey, Jay. Monty said that he thought that the defense in the second quarter is what won the game for you guys. Just what specifically on that end of the floor do you feel like was working really well and holding them to only, I think it was 16 points?
Yeah, I just think we adjusted and try to keep those guys out of our paint. They're a great team once the ball is in the paint. We just tried to just guard the ball, guard our yard as best as possible to keep that ball out of our paint and make those guys make tough contested shots. I think that's our recipe, especially in the second quarter, was to get that lead. We just try to protect our paint. That was the message.
And then follow up on what you just said about Book too. I mean, you mentioned I wouldn't be here if not for him, but what have you maybe seen now from him as far as the work that he does behind the scenes as his teammate that none of us see? Like, what can you tell us about his work habits and what he does?
I mean, he's a well-rounded professional. I don't know how else to put it. He puts the work in on a daily basis. He just don't do it every now and again. It's an everyday thing. He takes care of his body. He takes care of his mind. He watches film. He talks. He communicates well. So he does everything you want out of a guy, especially who's been here, who's comfortable in this in his city and on this team. And he did a good job of just bringing everyone together. I think his work ethic speaks for itself. He's putting the work in, so he has a voice in the locker room. I think once you put the work in on a daily basis, obviously the rest of it falls in line from a leadership standpoint, and he does that on a daily basis.
Final question is David Cennolato from Italy.
Hi, Jay. Talking about your game, obviously you didn't shoot that well in game one. Game two was different. How much is important for you to be a contributor on offense and on defense too?
I didn't look too much into it because we won the game. Obviously, if we would have lost that game and I played the way I played, I would have been even more disappointed in myself. But obviously, you have those nights. But we have a great team, and these guys do a good job of. We always been the team to talk about picking each other up. And obviously, I had a tough night, but my teammates picked me up. We was able to come out with a win. I do feel like it's big for me to play on both ends of the court and be a factor on both ends of the court. But obviously, our team is deep enough. We have enough to get it done. Even if I have an off night, even if Book have an off night, even if Chris have an off night, we have enough to get it done in our locker room, and we totally believe in one another. So that game was just a glimpse of what we've been preaching all year. We have each other back, and my teammates have my back that game.
First question, Dave up front.
Chris, the Bucks fought back to make this a couple possession game in the fourth a couple times. Once Booker hit a three to make it 6-9. Another time they had it 7. Book hits 2 threes in a row. Why is he built for those type of moments?
Big time. He could tell you better than I can, but he didn't train and worked his whole life for these moments. And our team all season long has been, you put the work in, you live with the results. So if Book shoot it, I expect it to go in. I get mad at him when he don't shoot, so big shots.
And that one sequence you had to end the first half, 9 or 10 passes, Ayton ends up with an and one. Has your passing rubbed off on these guys, or how do you explain that one?
We have a saying with our team. It's called good to great. We pass up good shots to get great shots, and it's the unselfishness of our team. Any coach in America, I'm sure they love to show their team that clip, and DA finished it at the end.
Dwayne up front.
Yeah, Chris, you've talked about how Mikal and how much you're proud of DeAndre, but seeing Mikal do what he did tonight, career high, 27 points in the playoffs.
I be on Kale so crazy, you know what I mean? Because Kale is just a winner. He's a winner. When we won the Western Conference finals, I looked at him and I had a flashback of him being at Villanova. You know what I mean? I remember him winning the championship there, and you know, he's just a winner. He's going to do whatever you need him to do, offensively or defensively, and it's good to see him playing like this.
Quick follow. Dave was talking about that one possession at the end of the first half, that possession in the fourth where, you know, a shot is missed, Mikal runs it down, then another shot is missed, Aiden gets the rebound and kicks it to you in the corner for a three that you hit. How big was that sequence? You guys were up 6 at that point. It went up.
It was huge. It was like the play of the game. You know, DA. You know, he's so hard on himself. He's so mad at how he played or whatnot. But I tell him if he doesn't get that offensive rebound and find me there in the corner, that was probably the biggest play of the game. So just shows you how we all have to stay the course.
Rachel on the left.
Hey, Chris. Athletes who've been doing it for a long time toward the end of their careers, like Derek Jeter or Pete Sampras, when they were vets, they said that it was sometimes harder to stay in the moment of those championship series because you knew too much. Like you knew how hard and how long you had been to get there. And Jeter used to talk about the World Series at the beginning of my career were easy. It was the ones in the last few years that I really had a harder time staying in the moment. Have you experienced that at all?
No, I have a pretty good, I do a pretty good job of staying in the moment. You know, maybe a lot of the guys on our team, this is their first playoff series. You know, they don't know the heartache or the heartbreak. They just out there playing. So for me, I know how quick things can change. I know how a possession or play can change the dynamics of an entire series. So for me, I don't get too high, I don't get too low. I just stay even keel. Wasn't always like that, you know, but I know that these situations are, you know, don't happen every day.
Thanks.
Mark up front.
Hey, Chris, I know Devin's still got his young legs in him, but what do you notice he does to be able to play at a high motor throughout the game?
He just stay in attack mode all game long. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about him. And I think me and him together, we've just built so much trust. You know, he like, here, see, go. You know, I go to him. And whatever happens during the game, you just know that there's never any malicious intent. You know, he just wants to win. He's going to do whatever he has to do to help our team win, and it's nice.
Mark, over here.
Chris, looking back to when you were traded here, what were your initial thoughts when you got the news? And could you have foreseen at this time being on this stage?
I know me. I know how hard I work during the summer. I know how I play. I knew the pieces that was here. I knew Book was here. And like I say, I knew the pieces. I knew mine. I knew that we would have a system. I knew that we would build trust. So I'm not surprised.
And what did you think about James having confidence in you?
JJ is our GM, but he is like my counterpart. He's like my brother. You know what I mean? So like we done been through so many different things with the CBA negotiations. So it was easy to talk to him about me wanting to be here. And it's nice when you have a relationship like that because you can be honest, no matter what, good or bad, you know, you're going to shoot it to each other straight. And that's how it's always been.
Palmer on Zoom.
I'm going to go to Mark Schwartz with ESPN.
Chris, Devin always says that he doesn't run from moments like these. Very few players are really built like that. What is it about him that allows him to embrace and fearlessly go after moments this big?
I mean, Book had 70 in the game before. You know what I mean? So you don't do that being shy. You don't do that being shy. And like I said, he puts the work in. That's what a lot of people don't see. You see the games. You don't see all the shots after practice and all this different type stuff. So he built for it. He built for it. And like I said, that was something that I saw before I came here. And it's nice to be on his team.
Gina up front.
Chris, yeah, when you talk about those things that we don't see, like what do you wish that we could see if we were flies on the wall, like at the practice facility afterwards, as far as just the work that Book does put in?
Just him? You talking him or our team?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Just to stay on that topic.
Book. I don't know. It's the treatment. It's the shots. It's the everything. You know, we have a day in between games or something. I might shoot a little, then sit out, Book like Willie. I want to shoot some shots going here. I want to shoot some shots here, and everything is game speed. But we got a work team, so it's not just Book. It's Cam, Payne, is Jay, is everybody. We got a work team, and it's nice to be a part of.
The two of you building that trust, what do you feel like the key was to doing that, and how long? I know you guys gelled right from the jump, but was there a point where you feel like it kind of reached a different level?
I don't know. I just know that I remember being on that one road trip and coach telling us we had the worst plus minus starting five. That hurt. I ain't never been on the minus side or any of that stuff. But we knew that we had to figure it out. If we wanted to get where we are now, we knew we had to figure it out. So we did, and we're gonna keep it going.
How did you figure it out?
I don't know. I think our defense got better. We started working on screening angles. We started running our sets. I missed most of training camp.
Right.
You know, I missed a lot of that time, so I didn't really know the offense like that. And so once we started playing and getting the continuity, and once you get some wins, you really start getting confidence.
Anthony, last question.
Yeah, you guys hit 23s tonight, which is actually tied for the second most in finals history. But I mean, even that look right there, have you gotten used to how non-abnormal it seems for a team to hit 23s in a game in the modern era?
Yeah, I played in Houston. Yeah, we shot a lot of threes, you know, but you know, with our team, we got shooters, you know, like real shooters. And I say this all the time, it's nice when you kick it to the guy and you expect him to make it. You know, you expect him to make it. Like, I get mad at some of these guys when they miss it. They miss it. I'd be like, come on, man. You don't miss that in practice. And it's different too when you know the work that they put in, right? So when shoot around is over, practice over, everybody don't leave the gym. Everybody's still in there shooting, So that's the trust that you build because you know the guys didn't put in the work.
How much can that save you? Like first quarter tonight, you guys only made 1-2 and we're kind of outplayed, but you hit I think 8 threes and stayed in the game. How much can just like a hot shooting quarter kind of save a team?
Help anybody. To help anybody. What they always say is to make a miss league, you know, and the fact that our guys had the confidence to continue shooting it, even if it's not going in, we like, you're gonna make the next one. You're gonna make the next one. We got a team full of guys. If a guy pass up a shot, probably gonna get cussed out, right? Because you know what everybody's capable of.
Gina, first question.
Hey, Buck, you mentioned before game one that you were more excited than nervous to be on this type of stage. When you've talked in the past about visualizing these moments, has the finals felt like that? Have you had those times where you're like, this is exactly what I imagined it would be like?
Yeah, to be completely honest, you know, I think the whole playoff experience, you know, helped it tone it down a bit because I feel like we've seen a lot of situations and different coverages, and you know, we've been through it all through the regular season and stressing the details of the game. So, you know, I think we're prepared for this moment. You know, obviously Milwaukee is no slouch and they make it tough on us and they're always going to make it tough on us. But, you know, we've seen a lot as a team.
After I think you started 2 for 10 and then got really hot, just what changed, not what changed, but just maybe what unlocked for you that allowed you to really get it going?
Say just slow it down a bit. Early in the game, just amped, excited, and, you know, shooting a few things long, rushing a few shots. So, you know, just getting back to fundamentals.
Dave up front.
Devin, those 3 threes you hit in the fourth, Chris said this is something that you work on, you envision. Monty said you don't run for the moment. Jay said, hey, if you did run for the moment, we wouldn't be here because you've done this throughout this playoff run. What allowed you to get open to hit those, or maybe you even weren't open? What allowed you to hit them?
It's just team basketball. You know, I think a few of them are open, and you know, we prepare for these moments. Like you said, nobody's running from any action or any type of type of moment, like you guys are saying. And, you know, it's not just me, it's 1 through 5. It's like you said, setting my man up, DeAndre hitting the screen, Chris causing enough attention to get me open. So, you know, it's all a collective group. It's team basketball. And, you know, that's why I feel like we've been successful for most of the year.
Mark, on your right.
Hey, Devin. No, obviously you're young, but Monty was marveling how it doesn't really seem like there's ever a moment where you're tired. What do you think goes into being able to just play at that high motor from start to finish consistently?
It's preparation, taking care of your body. You know, there's a whole list of it, but, you know, I think the adrenaline and, you know, me and Mikal were some young guys. We're, you know, we're young and getting it and trying to get after it. So, you know, I don't feel tired for real.
On that note, are there any things over the years that you took from Kobe or Chris or any other veterans as far as things that go into kind of maximizing your health and all that?
Everything. I take bits and pieces from, you know, all my mentors, and preparation with diet, strength training, you know, just making sure your body can withhold, you know, these moments. And, you know, during the regular season, we're still working, you know, even after we win a game next day in practice, we're in there getting right, making sure our bodies are right. And it's not just myself, it's everybody on this team.
Mark, over here.
For both of you guys, how do you balance what you guys have done and being 2 wins away to, you know, where we are about to just go on the road after we held court? Like, how do you look at your situation right now?
You just got to treat it like it's game 1. We talk about it in the locker room, and our next game is the most important game. That's in the regular season, that's in the playoffs, in the finals, no matter what. Our next game is our most important game. So we just stay locked in, and we know we did what we're supposed to do here, and it's not over. And we just got to continue to keep doing what we're doing and playing our way.
Is it hard not to get excited?
I said before the series, I'm excited. You know, I'm excited. Honestly, every day I wake up and get a chance to play, you know, in the NBA, you know, the league that I've been watching since a kid. So, you know, I try to not lose sight of that. Fortunate, both of us are grateful to be in this situation, and, you know, we definitely don't want to take it for granted. So, you know, it's an everyday thing for us.
Dwayne, up front.
Yeah, question for both of you. If each of you could describe what you thought about each other's game tonight.
I'll start. I'll start. Shoot. Man, just it's coming up huge, especially in that fourth. I told him that after the game, just timely shots. They come in, go to free throw line or hit a couple of threes. And they're making a little run, and every time Book hit a 3 or do something, and just you can just tell, just melt them down. Like, dang, like we was right there, and I'm just like, I'm amazed too. I'm running there trying to crash, maybe get old board. It's going in every single time. So I'm just running at this point. So it's just unbelievable. And he just, you know, this is what he do, and he doesn't shy away from it.
I'm going to go Kellen, then Brian.
There was another part to that question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me get my love.
Nah, he had it going. He takes a lot of pressure off everybody. And the most impressive part is, you know, he's always guarding the dynamic scorer on the other team. And Middleton's not an easy matchup. And, you know, that's his matchup every night. And he has to do a lot on the other end. So for him to, you know, still have his legs, still have, you know, his focus, you know, to make the plays that he did, you know, takes a lot of pressure off everybody. Me, Chris, DeAndre, makes it a lot easier for everybody. Mm-hmm.
Kellen?
Hey, Book, when Mikal was struggling in his rookie year with shooting, I remember you said everyone saw the shooter he was at Villanova and knew that player was going to come out. What's the work you've seen him put in and just become this type of offensive player in his 3rd season already?
Yeah, it's every day. You know, you say type of work, it is always, like I just said, his focus is there, you know, every single moment. You know, you get to the gym, Mikal's there, and he's putting in extra work. He's there after. So, you know, people will still try to label him as a 3-and-D guy, and I've told you guys multiple times that's not even close to his game. You know, I think he stole a little going left fade from me a bit. I think he took that out of my book, but you know, he gets it going, and you know, if teams want to try to make him be the one to beat him, he'll do it.
They need to start mentioning him as the 3rd mid-range guy with you, Chris, and Mikal now.
Yeah.
There. Yeah,
We'll talk next year.
Mikal, to follow up on that, Monty mentioned at the beginning of last year and just like attacking closeouts for you and how important that was going to be for you. And you did that a ton tonight. Just how comfortable do you feel with that part of your game now?
Yeah, it started from in college. When I came off the bench, on a championship team, I wasn't shooting the ball that well and I had to figure out ways to score. And it was cutting and driving it. And so once I went to my last year of college and I was shooting it really well, it was just a mix of everything. And sometimes I get so focused on wanting to hit that three. If I haven't touched it in a while and I just want to get one up, I think it's always, let me hit this three, get myself going. And I have my teammates, and I think I'll give Etuan a shout out. He's the one that talks to me I know, especially in that Clippers series when I wasn't getting it going, and he was just like, mix it up, try to get to the rim. And I'm like, damn, that's what I was doing. And I just forgot I was trying to just hit a three. And once I started doing that, it just opens up my game, just playing off my jump shot and getting in the paint and, trying to have everything for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Brian on the right.
I want to ask you guys about that play late in the first half where you all moved it around. And, how did you know to cut inside there? The ball was in the perimeter so long. Was that just an instinct thing? And, Chris was just talking about early in the season, I guess Monty telling you guys you were the worst starting unit or whatever. How do you go from that to just having the instincts like you had in that play where it seemed like you're so connected?
I say just chemistry, trust, believing in your brother, believing in your teammate. And we actually talked about that play right after the game, me and Mikal. He was like, I think that was the most pumped I've been after a play. I was like, me too. Same here. So, when you're playing like that, it's fun. It's fun. Everybody's touching it. You feel the energy of the ball when you get it. You want to make a play for somebody else, and something opens up always when, it's popping and moving like that.
We'll go to Palmer for questions on Zoom.
We're going to go to Jose Romero with the Arizona Republic.
Hey, Mikal, was there some motivation for you in, when you're hitting those shots? You hit a few from 3-point range and then another jumper later. You looked over at the Bucks bench, just a little glance, maybe a little gamesmanship or just something that motivates you when you were doing that?
No, it's just fun. Just hearing, you're right in the corner, hit a couple corner threes right in front of their bench, and they just, playing basketball, trying to make me miss, and I just the fun of it and just talking a little bit. But it's all friendly, all love, just having fun out there.
Next is going to be Mark Schwartz with ESPN.
Mikal, there's so much fun when the ball is moving the way it was at the end of the first half in that possession. But often in this game in the second half, the ball ended up in the hands of the guy to your right. What does it take to be that fearless in moments like that when Milwaukee is right on you coming back?
It's just easier for me. We have a guy like Book that's going to go out there and take those shots and make them. It's sometimes easy to take shots, but it's not easy to make them all the time, especially in the fourth when they're making runs and stuff. So that's all the Book and how he was raised and how he works on his game. Just he's a go-getter. He's going to shoot it, and I know he will.
Take last question in the back.
Sometimes, some of Monty's speeches, whether it's a specific player or the team, kind of get, a little bit of attention when they get cut into the broadcast. And I'm just curious from a player perspective, what's best for you guys in that moment when there's short huddles, and how do you feel like Monty has kind of handled those periods of time?
I mean, we trust him. If he comes in the huddle, he's developed relationships with each and everybody in the huddle. So he can pretty much say anything. He can be brutally honest. He can let you know what's going on, but, he's always supporting and he's always uplifting. That's just the type of guy he is, whether you're in the huddle or you run into him in the hallway, whether it doesn't turn off. That's what type of character he has. So, that makes it a lot of fun to play for a man like that. And, that those relationships, those personal relationships help him, I think, control the culture, control the environments that we're in.